Welcome to the Axomo 4.0 launch. I would normally introduce the rest of the event, but there is a surprise that all of you are about to participate in. And to introduce that surprise is our CEO, Chris Jensen. Get on up here.
All right, are we ready for the surprise? Awesome. So in your email that we asked you for when you came in, each one of you want to check that. You should have a credit that with a link to do some shopping on our Axomo experience. Are you seeing that? Yeah, some of you are seeing it. Should be filtering in, maybe refresh. Hopefully you got on the Wi-Fi. That's kind of a key thing. Yeah, you had to register. Awesome. So, surprise. Oh, we got it. All right. So here's the deal. You are going to be the first people outside of our team internally and the developers that have shopped on the new platform. You're doing it today. So this, I guess you could say, is our first real test run. It's going to be awesome. I'm confident. And if you have any feedback, save it for like the development team or something. They'll handle it. But here's what you'll do. We got 3 categories of things. You see, we've got some tops, some shirts. We've got some water holding devices. And then we've got some hats. You're going to pick up to one of each one of those things. So 1 hat, 1 shirt, one water bottle. Also, you may not want a shirt. You may not want a hat. Maybe you don't want a water bottle. You don't have to order one of everything, but you can order up to one of everything. Does that make sense? Any questions? So what's going to happen up here, and at some point you'll look up, we have got a new live dashboard. So we're launching some new things that you're going to see today. So as administrators, you're going to have access to a new dashboard that allows you to see what's happening more real time than what we've had in the past. And so as your orders start to roll in, and it's going to take a minute for you to probably shop through some, we're going to actually start seeing those things pop up here. So we'll be looking at that for a minute, but enjoy a couple minutes of shopping. So we started to see the short sleeve t-shirt is going to be the top ordered item, followed by the 40-ounce Hydro Wave, and then we've got obviously this 32-ounce dark gray stainless and some other things. And you can actually, as the admin, when the internet stays solid here, hold on, we're coming back. Comes back. So if we click on some of these, you can actually go in and you can see some of these orders. Let's take the one for Mike down at the bottom. Let's take a look at Mike. So Mike is an admin. You can also come in and you can see kind of what's being ordered. You have full access to all the information you need as far as seeing who's there, who's using it. So we've got a lot of visibility that you'll be able to see as an administrator on the platform as well. So all part of the experience. You're going to see some other things going up here as well. So we're talking about top selling items. As orders keep coming in, we're going to start seeing those that have actually ordered. We're going to start seeing credits that are being used. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about this today as we go through and hear from the rest of the presenters. We're going to go through some of these things. When I told the development team, you guys are going to want to know this. Where's my development team? You want to stand up? Got someone in here? There's actually a lot more of them out here that have come down. When I told them we were doing this live, they looked at me like I was crazy. And they're like, oh yeah, Matt told me I was crazy too. In fact, they reminded me of like a Microsoft thing and a blue screen thing when I was probably like 4 that I didn't see. But they said, you realize like this could go really bad. And I said, it could, but it also could go really cool. So we angled on the side of better. So it looks like 25 of you and 27 of you, and that's awesome. We're going to let this keep rolling here for the next few minutes. We know some of you didn't get credit to start, so we will not expire the credit right now. But this is going to keep rolling. We're going to keep coming back to this dashboard throughout our presentations today. And it's one of the things that I, probably as the CEO, I'm most excited about because it gives you so many insights as to what's actually happening. Our mission statement here at Axomo and our parent company, Namify, is to connect and unite people one brand at a time. So what that means for your individual brand is we're hoping to help you take the people, the teams, the employees that you work with every day, and through your brand, connect them and help them feel like they belong to something. You're going to hear some stories today about belonging and how important it is to feel like you belong to something. I'm a big sports fan. Matt's going to talk a little bit about that too. But I have so many experiences that when I think back at games or brands or the St. Louis Cardinals who are my favorite team, like the connections that I have with so many things. And that happens within the Namify brand and the Axomo brand as well. And so that's our mission, to connect and unite people one brand at a time. So thanks for helping us be a part of this. Again, if you just got your credit, keep ordering it. Sometime in about the next 10 minutes or so, it's going to expire for reasons that you'll find out later. So let's go ahead and turn it back to Matt. Thanks, guys. Good job.
Now I'm going to officially open us. Thank you for the surprise. It's awesome to be here, but before we begin, I want to take a minute to thank all of the hearts, heads, and hands that went into creating Axomo. So guys, let's give it up for the team. Chris has alluded to quite a bit of it, and I'm honored to be here to share a lot of that message. That order just connected you to us. You have the opportunity to see our brand, and you're going to have the opportunity to see it. How'd that feel? Good? Great. Fun? You had never had a tumble like that before? Yeah? No? Kind of fun. Get that anticipation. It's not Christmas morning, but we love that feeling of something coming. What I like about that connection, you received our brand, but all of you outside of work wear your own brands. I see some Nikes in here. I see some other things, some Carhartt, some Ariat. Outside of work, we begin getting connected to communities. And whether intentionally or unintentionally, we become connected to that. I'm a huge Packers fan. In fact, I own the team, like with one share. So our family are huge Packers fan. And like the Cardinals, right? I walk down the street wearing that. You have an opinion about me right away. You either like it or you don't. I think somebody earlier was not with me on that. Bears fan somewhere. But to Packers fans, not even being connected to each other, we're actually unified. We are more than friends. There's something that connects us in a bigger way. Brands have the ability to do that. I'm now going to tell you a story, a little less known story, about the founder of Nike, Phil Knight. In 1972, Phil wanted to go big. He got his big bat out like Chris just did, and wanted to take a risk in front of a lot of people. And so I'm proud of you. We just took a risk in front of you. That's entrepreneurship. Phil had the same energy. Phil sponsored athletes at the Olympics and printed this shirt that you see before you that says Mike. He wanted to put that on TV to beat Adidas. He wanted to beat Adidas so bad that he actually had his first swag attempt. This is promotional products. Nike sells shoes, y'all. But we wear their promotional products day in and day out. And the reason we do that is because we love them. We want to be part of the Nike community. So Phil was not happy at this Olympics. And he learned a big, powerful lesson. At the next Olympics, he did not make the same mistake. Nike is one of the best companies in the world at promoting their products. And that's what we do. We're in the promotion business. So Phil learned that lesson. And at the next Olympics, it was awesome. And the next Olympics, it got even better. And now none of us can imagine Olympiad without the raw power of Nike. It inspires us. I dunked my first basketball because I was told I would get a set of Jordans if I did. And then I did, Curtis. It was awesome. But this is a cool story because we can all relate to it. We can all relate to that story. All of us in here are powerful marketers and leaders of our organizations. And when I think of the things that we care about, we have the same energy Phil did. Nike's just a shoe company. All the companies that you represent, it's right here. We all care about them in a big way. So when I think about that, today you're going to hear from some incredible speakers that are in front of me, and I'm honored to be the host today. My name is Matt Frisbee. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Axomo. Today we're going to teach you about the little things about branding, about promotion, about connection. Because while Axomo 4.0 is a brand or a swag management platform, it's more than that. Today we're unveiling to you the future of connection. What we hope you happen today, what we hope that you learn today are the little things. And as I say that, I'm sure that you're finishing that statement. The little things are actually the big things. And we hope the takeaways you have, the stories that you're going to hear, are going to teach you, are going to help you think differently. And if we help you to think differently today, we'll accomplish something big. So as I finish, I want to thank you guys for being here again. I want to thank the crew and the team that built this software for our customers, for our industry, and for our own team, because we believe in the thing that we do. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome to the stage our founder, Brian Weldon. Let's give it up for Brian.
Thank you, Matt. Now it's time for a history lesson. So as Matt said, we're going to be learning a couple of things today, and we hope you write some things down. Because all over the world, in modern workplaces, we have branded merchandise that's still distributed in its own traditional way. It reflects outdated things. A logo t-shirt, a great water bottle, a token handed out at a conference. It's the same formula that's been repeated for decades. The approach is deeply entrenched in routine. Bulk orders in dozens. We're all familiar with that. Uniform distribution, a few key people choosing the items, trying to please everyone, and the vague hope that the recipients will appreciate it. But in the process, something more valuable is lost. And that's connection, intent, and authenticity. The intention behind these items is commendable. To show gratitude, build unity, foster engagement, but the execution too often undermines the message. Instead of saying, we see you, the subtext sort of becomes, we barely know you. Consider an example that happens thousands of times a day in corporate America. A company distributes beautifully packaged embroidered shirts to teams at a retreat. There's momentary hype. The material is high quality. It's designed with care. But then suddenly they start opening things up and something doesn't fit. So now someone feels embarrassed. They don't reflect an individual style, so it's a bit awkward. The color might be too bright. Something might be strange. They remain unworn, abandoned in hotel closets, discarded by the end of the weekend, or brought home as a gift to a 5-year-old nephew. The gift, meant to convey appreciation, inadvertently becomes a symbol of attachment. This realization sparks an imperative question. Do we match? Is this the best we can do? The traditional model of branded merchandise is not just inefficient, but we find that it's misaligned with the values of today's workforce. Overproduction, underutilization, generic items that fail to resonate, complicated logistics that frustrate rather than delight, and worst part is that the people they're meant to honor often feel unseen. So during the height of the dot-com boom, tech companies flooded conferences with branded novelties, mouse pads, stress balls, plastic ag tuning. These items were all designed for visibility, but instead they became emblems of excess. When the bubble burst, landfills overflowed, forgotten promotional items. This happened again and again. It continues to happen today. So who pays the price for the clutter? Well, countries like Chile and Atacama Desert, which has been a dumping ground for up to 59,000 tons of old apparel now. The island of Hispaniola, where Haiti is, receives thousands of tons of clothing each year. We think we're donating, but we end up just putting it in a landfill somewhere else. So from history to mythology, we also find similar missteps. The Greeks, as you know, presented Troy with an opulent wooden horse as a peace offering. But hidden within were soldiers. The gift was not an expression of goodwill, but a calculated strategy of deception. So today we see some echoes of that, some big echoes in this corporate culture. Branded items are offered with this implicit expectation, which is to wear this, promote us, conform. So sometimes they look generous, but sometimes they can feel obligatory. Can you imagine the awkwardness of a manager picking an item which a team member finds culturally insensitive to them, only to have that team member feel an obligation to wear it, or worse, if they choose not to wear it, they'll be labeled as someone who doesn't support the brand. Or when feedback is given on branded gear options, we've all had that feedback from everyone. Sometimes we get labeled as never being happy. No one should ever look at the company jacket in their closet and go through any type of emotional gymnastics. It's not what the brand intended. The intention behind the gesture is obscured by how it's executed. We feel that a gift strings is no different. More recently, we found in a 2019 industry study that over 50%, more than half, of promotional items distributed at trade shows are discarded within a week. Beyond the financial loss, this represents a missed opportunity to connect a meaningful, lasting. Each item that ends up in the trash carries a silent but powerful message to us, which is we didn't consider what mattered to you. So with 15 years watching companies do it this way, we started down a path to ask better questions. What happens to all of this leftover gear? Does every organization in America and the world really have a swag closet filled with old and outdated inventory that they don't know what to do with? What if we stopped assuming what people want? What if we invited them into the process? What if we elevated branded merchandise experience into a meaningful experience rather than reducing it to a simple transaction? Some of the more personal questions we asked were even harder around our business model. I mean, what kind of company tries to get people to order less of their product and do it better? But we learned that we can do better. So enter Axomo. That's how it was born initially. We provide organizations with a refined, intelligent platform to reimagine the way branded items are shared and received, whether it's team members, clients, vendors. We have people that use it for lead generation. You give out credits at a conference. It's really nice. And if people use it, great. If they don't, you didn't just give them a piece of garbage that they're going to throw away. Curated, personalized experiences. We have on-demand production, reduction in waste, seamless global distribution network that we continue to build, and integration with enterprise systems. Our live dashboard provides real-time visibility, as you saw earlier with Chris, into engagement, selection trends, and usage, which empowers organizations to make data-driven decisions and continuously refine the experience. We don't deliver merchandise, we create experiences. And at Axomo, we do it with a 90% reduction in waste. And if waste reduction isn't a good enough reason to use Axomo, on average, companies increase the reach of their brand exponentially, some up to 80 to 100 times, achieving millions of organic market. Why? Because each participant in an Axomo-driven experience selects branded items that align with their identity, purpose, and everyday use, yet still within the guardrails and guidelines of the brand. The result is a far more meaningful experience and more engagement. People feel authentic brand pride, they feel an elevated satisfaction, they feel belonging. Items are actually used more and shared. Impressions of the brand skyrocket organically. You have somebody that's out on a Friday night that's actually going to wear their gear. And as Matt said, conversations about the brand with others ensue more naturally. They create an instant connection or a detachment, how you feel about the brand. In my recent one-on-ones with every member of our team, over 80% were organically wearing their branded gear. What a great conversation starter to have with them. When I said, I'm so interested in the color and the design that you chose. Can you share more about why you chose it and what it is? The answers were so interesting to hear why people chose it and what the brand suddenly meant. There was a connection or something real. So as much as we love giveaways and creating hype, which is appropriate in some settings, organizations need to evolve from transactional gifting to intentional, human-centered connection. We thrive at this. Companies that partner with Axomo don't just improve operational efficiency, they liberate themselves from the chaos of outdated logistics. No more manually clicking sizes, no more endless spreadsheets or guesswork, no more ordering excess inventory that sits in the closet untouched. So let's get rid of those swag closets. Axomo replaces complexity with automation, simplicity, and choice so that leaders can focus on what matters most. That's building your culture, not managing bosses and swag. This, coupled with empowering employees with choice, makes the impact both immediate and enduring. This is what transformation looks like in this space. Branded merchandise isn't disappearing, but its purpose is being redefined. Because in the end, it's never about the item itself, it's about the meaning. People don't remember the gift, they remember how to give things. So let's start curating moments that are more cherished. Let's start connecting. This is way more than just better swag. This is Axomo.
Thanks. Before you roll my things, so your credit's going to expire by the time I'm done, just so you know. Again, and there's a reason for that, but just know that. So if you're finished the shop, please there. One of the things that the team was really afraid of is that I would get up here and I would just talk about whatever I wanted. I would just stick to one script. And I want you to know it's hard to stick to the script. I'm going to do it. I'm going to stay there. It's going to be close. So let's roll. I want to tell you about an experience that I had a lot of years ago. In fact, it was a very confident moment in my life. I'm like, I got this right. There's a CEO of a promotional products company surrounded by thousands of SKUs in every brand under the sun, and an expert, and frankly, an expert. I was sure that I knew exactly what my team would want to wear, not just want to wear, but would love to wear. I mean, obviously, I should know. And so, going through the catalogs and looking at some different things, I consider myself to be the black belt of everything. I'm wearing a black belt today, still consider that to be the case. I picked what I thought was the perfect thing that people were going to want to wear. It was this. And I'm like, dude, everybody's as Fast and Furious is out, right? Like, everybody's like, we're talking like 25 years. Like, people are stoked about it. And as I walked out, I made a decision. I bought about $25,000 worth of these shirts, frankly, back in the day. And I gave 5 shirts to every employee. And I said, this is what we wear every day. I'm like, I nailed it, right? Wrong. I was way off. In fact, I wasn't even close. In fact, I ultimately didn't even like wearing those shirts after a while. So I learned a lot from that. In fact, as Brian talked about, that's when we start bringing in Axomo. So as the team started to wear these cool shirts, right? This was the look I started to get. It wasn't great. It wasn't awesome. They were thick. They were uncomfortable. They were kind of like cardboardy, like the feel where it's like they just don't bend where they should bend. And the thing that I didn't think about, and I've learned a lot over the years, was that shirts should come in different cuts. The audience in here knows that. And these were all dude shirts, frankly. And so I had half our team looking, not looking the way that they probably want to look every day when they came to work, and really weren't interested in wearing the shirts. And to make it even worse, like, it gets kind of hot when you're doing production type things. They were not cool. Like, they were cool, but they were not cool. In fact, they were hot. They were black shirts. They were rough to wear. And some of the feedback was rough that I got, right? I thought I hit the mark. In fact, one of my really good friends is sitting here, Scott. Hey, Scott, how's it going? He quit production after that, I think, actually, and wanted to go to sales. He's our VP of sales now, hopefully not from the shirts. But his words were this. I asked him just a couple weeks ago, tell me about the shirts. What do you remember? And he says, I was just reminiscing about when I first started. And I remember we were given these shirts, these 5 black mechanic shirts out in the production area. And while he definitely appreciated them, having him, and he liked them because he wasn't going to ruin his own clothes. We work in ink and stuff, and so that was a benefit. His exact words were, I wouldn't be caught dead wearing them outside of work. I definitely missed the mark on that one, and I should know better. I had some other team members. One of them said I wore them because I was asked to, which I guess is fair. Somebody else said, and this one is, I don't know how I feel about this one, but when the boss gives you something to wear, you just do it. Then they did, frankly. I mean, I will give the team that for like 3 solid months. Everybody was wearing a black shirt with Namify. And then one of my team members runs our shirt press team. He said something to the effect of, I liked them. I think they were awesome. Now, keep in mind, I texted him this. He still works for us. I'm the CEO. And so I was like, when he gave me this answer, it was like way too detailed and like, I'm really excited. And I think I'll wear it again. And I was like, first of all, you probably don't have any of those anymore, so you're not going to wear them again. And so I guess at best case scenario, you could say I hit the mark 1 out of 4, right? 25% of the time. Now, I firmly believe, I don't know how many of you lead teams, maybe you lead companies. I sometimes ask the question, like, is somebody really going to tell me when they don't like something? I hope they will. I mean, I invite the team. Scott does. He's good at telling me when I'm doing something wrong. But the question is, would they tell me? So how did I get it wrong? I'm the CEO of a promotional company. I have all the access to all the things. How did I get it wrong? So today you had the opportunity to shop on our experience, on our Axomo experience. You got to pick the things that you wanted to pick. How many of you picked nothing? Don't be afraid to raise your hand if you did. All right, that's cool. You work it. You work with us, so Yeah, you can get something later. So you all pick something. How many of you picked one of everything? How many of you didn't? Some of you didn't. That excites me. You heard Brian talk a little bit about how sometimes, like, is it weird as a company that we're asking people to order less? We are asking people to order less. We're in the promotional company. If you've ever been in a promotional business, then you know, like, it's all about ordering as many as you can. And if you've ever ordered swag, it's as many as you can for what? The cheapest possible price so that you can give it to everybody. Those are the things when Brian talked about in that 2019 survey, that half that stuff, if you've ever been to a trade show and you look in the garbage can as you walk out of the trade show, what's there? Everybody else's stuff, and half the crap that you put in there that you got, you're like, I'll take it, and I can't fit it in my bag on the way home, I'm not taking it, right? That's what we did for 10 or 12 years. That's what we love about Axomo, is we're stopping that piece. I see a lot of our competitors that are online, and it's good to know your competitors, but they're pushing a lot of, like, as much product and all these things, and every time I see those, I get a little sad. And that sounds crazy, I get a little sad, but I get a little sad because for me, remember the mission, to connect and unite people one brand at a time. I'm asking myself, are they connecting and uniting people? That's what we do here at Axomo. So back to our dashboard, is that where we're at? Trust me, I took a right back at like a long ways. So back to dashboard, so about 44 of you decided to order something. Not all of you ordered everything. Some of you did. That's awesome. We're excited about that. What's fun is we get this, like, and again, I'm coming back here, you're going to see a lot of different things as an administrator that you'll be able to see, again, what are the top selling items so that you don't do what? You don't put 25,000, name-a-five black mechanic shirts on every single person, only to have people tell you that they don't like them. Like, let them choose and let them pick. The cool thing is we don't have to do 1,000 things at once. Some of you work with us. What's our minimum? 1. We've geared our entire warehouse. In fact, we're doing a tour tomorrow. Some of you may be on the list. If you're not, talk to Matt or some of the team. You'll be able to see we've geared our entire production facility to do as little as 1. And we can do 1 on so many items. And that's what makes it fun, because it lets people connect and unite with the one thing that's important to them. It allows you not to have all the overage and the things that Mary's going to talk about and some of the rest of our team is going to talk about, which is pretty fun. So now that I took her right back in who knows where, I'm going to come back. And let me come back to where I started. I know what's best, right? I don't know what's best. All of us today, if you look around, there is not, outside of our team, that some of us are wearing the same things. Generally speaking, you all have your own style. You have your own flavor. You're wearing your different shoes. You've got the things that you like. Guess what? The people that work for you in your teams, they have those same desires and those same things. And I can tell you, if you give them the ability to shop in an experience like this and experience your brand in a new way, it will change how people wear your brand. Thank you for joining us. Really grateful to have you with us today. And it's my pleasure to introduce Mary. If you want to come on up. Mary is our Director of People. Yeah, I don't know if people directors and things, they deserve all the rounds of applause. So, Mary, thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here. So thanks for coming. I've been leading people teams for about 20 years now. And today I would like to tell you a little bit of a story about a swag nightmare. How many out there have had a swag nightmare story? Yeah, I feel you.
I just have to share it.
Exactly. All right, as the head of HR at another company, I was responsible for the holiday gifts every year. You guys have probably experienced this. Oh, you think it'd be simple, but every year I'd agonize, research, do online shopping, looking for the perfect gift for my employees. I'd spend hours agonizing over what I was going to find. Our workplace was heavy industrial workers. We had welders and laborers and machine operators, and they all worked outside in the cold Utah winters. And what I wanted to find was something that was going to be practical and useful for them. So finally I settled on this perfect gift, this awesome Carhartt jacket. It was warm, it was durable, and I put our logo on it. It was beautiful. I was so happy with what I chose. 2 weeks before Christmas, the vendor delivers all the boxes. I get 30 pallets of boxes stacked higher than I am. And that's where the nightmare really began. Because in those boxes, they put different sizes in each one. So me and my team, we spent hours going through, sorting through the boxes, by size, trying to get everything organized for our employees so they could pick them up. So the next day, I invited our warehouse team to come and get everything organized, had everything on pallets, and we invited the whole team to come pick up their stuff. It turns out I didn't have time to actually go and get everybody's sizes because we worked and there was like 8 plants and like 3 square miles and people on different shifts. That was going to be an impossible task. And so, as it turns out, we ran short. About 40 of our employees needed mediums and larges, and all I had was extra large and bigger. So the employees were disappointed. I was disappointed. Now what do you do with the leftovers? All those extra larges, 2Xs and 3Xs? Yeah, they're still sitting on a pallet on a shelf in the warehouse collecting dust to this day. So I tried to hand them out to our new hires. Yeah, no, didn't work out. So in the end, we wasted thousands of dollars on jackets that were never used. The entire project was overwhelming and honestly disappointing. Employees felt overlooked and sizes didn't match, and the whole process was a drain on time and resources. This is the exact problem that Axomo is solving. With on-demand ordering and personalized sizes and zero waste, every gift is intentional, perfectly sized, and meaningful. No more pallets left behind. That's the future that we've built. That guy literally looked like me in my jacket. So I recently have done some research. I looked at over 1,000 of our Axomo-powered stores. I looked at hundreds of employees, millions of dollars in transactions, and what I found was this really key insight. And that's on average, 70% of employees use their credits that we give them. That's great, 70% of engagement. But what does that mean? 30% are not redeeming their credits at all. Let that sink in for a second. 30% of our employees are not using their credits. That means savings for the company, not waste. When companies move away from that one-size-fits-all swag approach and allow employees to actually choose what they want, they're just improving satisfaction. They're avoiding waste. And so by simply offering choice, companies are saving thousands and sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. So let me tell you about my Carhartt jacket that I got. So I am an employee of that company, so I too got my jacket, right? I was actually going to wear it today, but as it turns out, I already donated it. Oops. So yeah, that jacket was not practical for me. I sit in an office all day. It's warm. I'm not outside working on a welding machine. And so that's a classic example of trying to hit the many and missing the few, right? So the truth is, I don't really love wearing branded apparel. And it turns out I'm not alone. There's 30% of us on average that don't like it either. And so that's where the Axomo dashboard comes in. So with the Axomo dashboard, you can actually see how many credits you've given, how many are remaining, and how many people are just never going to use it. That non-use means savings. And in that last metric, it lies the power. You can see exactly how much money you're saving by not forcing an order on people like me. So, the data speaks for itself. The research shows that it's simple to see. What we discovered is that it's a smarter way to do employee branding. It's a smarter way to let them choose. And what you'll discover is that when you give them the freedom to opt out, there's actually a lot more value in allowing them to opt in. Thank you. So this is our CTO, Mike Marshall.
Thanks so much, Maria. That was awesome. I love how people can save and get everything that they need with Axomo. I'm Mike Marshall. I'm CTO here. I've been here since the beginning, from building the early systems behind the scenes, helping shape the tools you're using today. My background is in tech, but what I really care about is helping teams build something that they will actually use. They asked me to play the mystic on this journey. I'm not the hero. I'm not the villain. I'm just the guy who shows up long enough to hand over the map and then disappear off into the shadows. I can work with that. I'm a systems guy. I live in dashboards, data, back-end logic, the wiring behind the message. And what I've seen over and over again is that most companies don't lack a brand, they lack alignment behind it. Brand control used to live in a PDF, document buried in a shared drive that only marketing could find. Meanwhile, HR was ordering jackets, finance was questioning the spend, IT was trying to connect the dots with identity platforms and spreadsheets. It wasn't bad, but it was fractured. It wasn't really anybody's fault, but it wasn't anyone's responsibility either. Too often I've seen HR and marketing sitting across from each other like they're in audit, not on the same team, not trying to help connect and unite the people that we are trying to serve. Axomo changes that because a brand is no longer something that lives in theory. It lives in the system. It lives in real time. It's not static. It's not hypothetical. It's a living, breathing command center. Tools like the style guide and logo manager move your brand DNA out of the design doc and into a place where it actually gets used. Marketing still defines the boundaries, and then everyone else gets to play in bounds. There's no guesswork, no version control, no panic, just alignment. One source of truth shared across departments with data that reinforces the message instead of contradicting it. Let's start with the style guide. This is where marketing locks in your brand's visual DNA. Colors, fonts, tone, even usage and rules. And the beauty is, it's not hidden. It's right there for everyone. HR managers, admins, partners, and yes, even us developers too, can find the logos that they're looking for. No more is this close is this close enough? No more, I think this is the right red. Everyone is pulling from the same standards, which means your brand doesn't look right once. It looks right every time. Now let's look at the logo manager. This is where all of your logo variations live and where rules behind them are actually enforced. Think about how many times someone on your team has asked, where is the latest version of the logo? Can I just grab it from the Google Drive or this old email? Where was that embroidery file that we're using? It's all right here in your logo manager. Every version, light, dark, stacked, patches, it's all stored and tracked, and everyone has rules attached. When to use it, how to use it, and what print colors print with what. So if you're printing on a black shirt, the system automatically knows to use the white logo. If you're printing on a white mug, it knows automatically we need to use the color version. You don't have to be a designer to get it right. You just have to use the system. The result, no more back and forth emails, no more stretched images, no more last minute asking, who has the file? It's governed, it's current, and it's globally consistent. That's the power of the logo manager, one of the quieter heroes in brand alignment. Next, we've talked about this a lot already, but it's the customizable admin dashboard. Every team, from HR, finance to marketing, can design the layout that fits their needs. Engagement data, redemption, history, inventory, sustainability, whatever matters most to you, you'll be able to set your custom views, and across all these views, one consistent story starts to emerge. Your brand becomes visible, trackable, and tunable. The dashboard doesn't just show performance. It tells the story of your brand's health. You even get a brand score, something that you can work with quarter by quarter, just like revenue or an NPS score. And yes, the future is headed towards AI-powered insights and predictive recommendations and smart prompts. But even now today, your Axomo rep meets with you quarterly, helps you interpret the data to raise your score. Now, I'll be honest. I've said something over the years that gets me a lot of funny looks in meetings. And I'll pull up a report and I'll say, at the end of the day, this report doesn't actually matter. Cue all the concerned funny looks. Then I'll ask, if the number was lower than what you wanted it to be, what would you do? They'll pause, think for a few moments, and then rattle off a few great ideas. To which I say, well, then why don't we just try that? See, the truth is, there is no report. At least, not a report that will tell you what to do in the same way that a good brainstorming session will. Reports don't create action, people do. Metrics are a map, not a command. If you want to move the numbers, you sit down, you collaborate, you challenge your assumptions, you experiment, you work with your team, you try again. That's why Axomo doesn't just hand you a dashboard, it gives you something far more powerful. Time, insights, and permission to pivot. That's what our quarterly reviews are for. Not to admire a graph, but to rewrite the next chapter together. So let me leave you with this thought. If your brand is a mirror, what is it showing your people? Are they reflected in it, or are they just receiving it? Because here's the truth. We don't command brands with rules. We command them with clarity and with data. And with the courage to let people participate in the brand, not just receive it. That's what it means to command the brand. And when a brand is actually felt, not just seen, that's where culture starts to come alive. And to show you how that part happens, please welcome Kelly Posda.
Thank you so much, Mike, for telling us more how to command our brands. Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly Posda. I like to start my intros out with a couple fun facts because, heck, you can go on LinkedIn or Google search me and you'll find out all the work stuff. But number one, I once spent an entire day hanging out with 50 Cent. I won free burritos for an entire year. And one I hold close to my heart, my family has made homemade sauerkraut for generations. Yes, 400 pounds of cabbage in our garage every fall. So now that we've broken the ice talking about cabbage and burritos, let's talk about branding. I've been connected to branding and tech since I was a kid. I used to take markers to my lunchbox so everyone knew which one was mine. Personal branding, cafeteria edition. And my love for tech, that started early too. I wasn't old enough for a phone, so what did I do? I went to garage sales on Saturdays and collected spell checkers, calculators, really anything with a screen and buttons. I even begged my mom to enroll me in Camp Invention. And I built myself a 6-foot robot. It was taller than me, and I was so proud. That spark to build, brand, and create something never really left. And working with Axomo brought it all back. Because I partner with Axomo from 2 angles. One through my corporate job at Blackwood, and the other through a passion project they saw, believed, and helped bring to life. We'll get to that shortly. Blackwood is a 3rd-generation family-owned company. We focus on helping customers navigate the complex world of cybersecurity. As we know, it's very complex. We are coming up on 50 years here soon, and we were founded in 1977. There's another small company you may have heard of called Microsoft. Microsoft, they just celebrated 50 years a couple months ago. Microsoft started in a garage. Blackwood, we started in a building that looks like a dentist's office. So, as Brian stated earlier, we were that tech company. Here's what life looked like before Axomo. In our office, we had bins, literal cloth bins of leftover giveaways. Employees would fill out a survey form of what branded items they wanted. And our HR team would go into the office, pick out whatever giveaways looked halfway decent and whatever tablecloth looked least wrinkled, and they would drive it to FedEx and repeat for every single event, every single order. Our office became a graveyard for branded junk. Shirts we didn't request, logos we didn't own, and giveaways no one really wanted. I'm sure I can relate to a lot of you. So when I stepped into marketing, I was also starting our marketing division. And the way we did our branding, I knew needed to change immediately. How many of you already have your interns list this summer to go through the stuff in the office? Like, that was us. Enter Axomo. In under just 1 year, here's what's changed for Blackwood. We've rolled out over 500 unique branded items where employees can go onto our store and choose the color, the size, the style they want. Items that fit their lifestyle. We fulfilled over 78 national events, 150 orders, completely off our plate, tracked, and on brand. We welcomed 21 new hires, 5 newborns, and 3 furry coworkers. And in fact, I didn't do a big team. I'm a marketing team, party of 1. I did it with Axomo. Axomo made it possible to deliver at scale without sacrificing brand integrity or employee experience. Because when branding is done right, it doesn't just say, look at us. It tells your people, you're not just a part of this, you are this. So let me ask you something. When's the last time you truly felt seen at work? Think about that. Not just thanked, not just tagged in a Slack thread, but really, undeniably seen for the way you show up when no one's watching. Because that moment, the moment where your effort is reflected back at you, that's not just recognition. That's culture you can feel. And that brings me to my second lens, my passion project. In 2022, I launched Humans of Tech. Think Humans of New York, but for the tech world. started with 2 sales reps, me, brand new to tech, trying to create my brand, and my co-host, Caroline. She was about a decade in, but just kind of wanted to rebrand for herself. We were trying to show that we were more than just sales reps with quotas. So what do? We became each other's LinkedIn cheerleaders. But we also had this one idea. We'll start a short form video series on LinkedIn where we bring in humans in tech. We want to find out who the people are behind the computer screens. We had 3 simple questions. We randomly pick a question live on air out of a fishbowl. We don't edit or re-record because we didn't have time. And we just ask that our guests answer authentically. And in fact, we weren't talking about AI, government mandates, or firewalls. We were talking about burnout, boundaries, and the human side of tech. Asking executives questions like, what's your morning routine? The questions they don't ever get asked. To, how do you disconnect from work and recharge? Well, this passion project became real when I was approached to be on Axomo's Outfitting Unity podcast. They didn't just create our first logo. Thank you, Manny. They surprised me live on air with 3 boxes of custom gear. Hoodie, hats, a water bottle, even a cooler. It felt like Christmas morning in April, but I didn't have to save the wrapping paper. Here's the thing. It wasn't about the hoodie. It was the moment I had realized someone had seen our effort and decided it was worth celebrating. And then Matt Frisbee asked one simple question. How do you feel? I surprised myself. I got emotional because that's when I realized this little side project, it was real. It had a life. Now it had a brand. Because before, it just lived in my headphones re-listening to episodes and calendar notifications before a guest would come on. But now, it lived in my routine, in my 6 a.m. spin class, on beach days with friends, on walks with my dog Bailey. That moment of acknowledgement left me speechless. And that's the power we all hold when we lead a brand with intention. Anyone can order 250 water bottles. When someone chooses something that says, I see you, I value you, you belong here, that's what turns a company into a community. So when we say you didn't get a gift, you got acknowledged, what we're really saying is you're not just a part of payroll, you're part of our purpose. That moment unboxing custom gear and realizing humans of tech was bigger than us wasn't about merchandise. It was about mission. Because Humans of Tech never was just a podcast. It was a reminder that behind every title is a human, behind every technology is a story, and behind every logo is someone wondering, is what I do actually matter? This talk, this moment is proof that it does. Because what this team is building at Axomo and what you all are building at your global organizations and what we've built at Blackwood proves one thing. The small moments are never small. A kind word, a thoughtful gift, a logo on a sweatshirt. We brand so others remember. But when we do it right, they don't just remember the brand. They remember who they are. And maybe for me, that started with a lunchbox and marker. Claiming something is mine, making it feel personal. That's what branding can do. Not just logos, but belonging, belief, and identity. And our job as marketers, as leaders, as humans, is to create that spark for someone else. So now let's shift from the story behind the brand to the experience of using it. Please join me in welcoming the guy behind the user interface and design of Axomo 4.0, Ryan Sharp.
All right, thank you, Kelly. What a great honor it is to have Kelly kind of come in and be able to share from the standpoint where you guys are sitting, kind of her story, and catch up with her afterwards if you want to learn more about that and how she's been able to make that successful for her. My name is Ryan Sharp, and I have served as a lead UI designer for Axomo 4.0. This has been an exciting journey for me and for the people that have been involved in this, from project management, from development, the design teams involved. This has been an incredible project for us, and really, this is a great opportunity for us to share kind of some of that passion with you. So, going through the UI design for the last couple of months has been a project, and you can see just, yeah, I mean, you could turn, this is almost literally a wallpaper of the designs that we've gone through and being able to take feedback and talk with you and the team to make this happen. Questions come up, and we look at the important usefulness of the purpose, the value, the insights that we're trying to convey with our redesign. And so let me kind of, perhaps you have a question like, where does this end up? What is all this for? So we want to take this journey and find out, well, what's at the end of it? So many of you, as you traveled here today, you probably came through maybe Salt Lake County or part of Utah County to get here. And in recent years, this place has been called Silicon Slopes. And this is home to many entrepreneurs, startups, medium, large-sized business, corporate business, enterprise businesses. And what's unique about all of those is that they each are invested in building their brand and their culture. So we share this together. If you want proof of this endeavor that we're all together on, there's an interesting place where we can turn to have a look. Utah County, Salt Lake County is home to 80 plus thrift stores. And if you know someone that's analytically minded, enjoys observing human behavior, maybe has kind of an unhealthy thrifting habit, you can learn a lot about businesses by visiting your local thrift store. Okay. Okay, so I've made a few visits, and it's purely been for science, of course. But thrift stores like Goodwill, Savers, Desert Industries here, and many others, they're an incredible contributing part of our community of giving life to products and items, giving them a second life. So instead of those items heading straight for landfill, they can find that second life. They can find people that need those products and can use those. What will you find at a donation center near you? Surprise, corporate swag. So everywhere you're going to see caps and bags and an incredible kind of history of the businesses local to you and the swag decisions that they've made. And some of these are incredible products. The bags, some of these are incredibly high quality. And what was surprising was to find that many of these have not been used. But some of these, show the next one. Go forward, if you would, go back to. Some of these, it's kind of a testament to us trying to preserve and make useful things which no longer have usefulness to us. Here's a record, a 1994 University Hospital in Utah. So we see history and we see that there's longevity. But I believe that the fact that these items are here shows that we are trying to be resourceful and also not let these things end up where they're just taking up space in landfill. So for us as brand managers, we probably have the question, or we should have the question, of how do we keep these items, how can they be of more value to us instead of ending up on the donation shelf? So this is one of the biggest questions in the 4.0 redesign that we've asked ourselves. What makes swag more meaningful? And what kind of keeps them from being like a thrift store legend? All right. This was an incredible find. In this particular thrift store, this shirt was found on 3 different racks. I collected them up, and interestingly enough, it was very easy to tell that none of them had been worn. But they were very high quality shirt. The branding was very beautiful brand. Many of them were sizes that were way too large. They purchased too much quantity. I did find a large. And actually, I like this shirt enough that I take it home, and so it will find second life in my clothing, in my closet. All right? And so the answer to this of how do we be more kind of succinct about what we create and what we give comes down to connection. Connection is really the answer to a lot of the challenges that we run into when we're looking at being able to give items that connect with people. There's things that we need to look at. First and foremost, it's the connection that we have with you. And this connection that we share allows us to understand what needs you have and be able to grow off of that, providing tools and information that help you. The connection that you share between you and your employees, your partners and your customers, the solutions that you're looking for to build real community and real culture comes from the ability of making that connection. Also, between the connection between your people or your customers and the items that you give to them or that come to them. Making sure that every item has a value and a purpose, and maybe even connects into their journey or their story. So when we fail to make these connections is when we're going to find our products end up in places that we didn't intend. Let me talk about this product real quick. This backpack is almost 20 years old. I worked for a company at the time that had this glass cabinet. And this glass cabinet, give credit to their HR team because they knew how to pick products. And this particular backpack, North Face, I love the brand. And the company would give little wooden chips when you did something great. And so saved up my chips, got my backpack. This backpack has never seen the walls of the donation center. It is with me even till today. It has been it used to be a bocce ball backpack where I put my bocce ball. Maybe this is dating me. But it also has carried a lot of like climbing gear, and it is still going to continue to have a place with me because when I use this, it reminds me of the experiences I had with that company. Great team, fantastic work that we did together, fantastic culture, the things that we pioneered and that we did together. So even if I didn't need the backpack, it will remain with me. And I believe that's the connection that we are trying to establish with the gifts and the items that we share with others. We want that brand. I love that that brand is there to remind me of that connection. So there is no one's wish that our products end up on the display shelf in a thrift store. These were probably very well-intended products, and there's probably even a story behind them. But can we connect these better to people so that instead of on a shelf in secondhand, it stays with us for a longer time? Now, you guys have probably been looking up here going like sweating it, right? You're like, ooh, that's showing a brand that I've been associated with. I sure hope that they're not going to be showing, last year's 5K t-shirt. Go ahead. And that's kind of a telling story that as you look around and you look at the Axomo people here and you see kind of this incredibly cool swag. I picked this one up because I thought it kind of resonated a Babe Ruth kind of vibe. Each of us also had the ability to pick the clothing that we're wearing here today. That choice means that my preference will stay with the item that I selected. It's the same experience that you have with the items that you selected earlier. So that's why we feel that the new dashboard is such a game changer for your business. There's these elements in our dashboard that we're trying to build in terms of like being able to connect you with your products. We can see from this experience here that we're connecting with the people in this room because basically we just did a survey. We just asked you guys which shirt or which apparel item is the item that is strongest among our group here. And the vote comes in. So our dashboard, there's a lot of data and power and strength that we're providing from our dashboard. So in this case, what products are actually being chosen and loved by our people. We're also providing insights on how your decisions impact waste and sustainability, recycled products, and also the positive impact of these items. So for sustainability, you're going to have access to widgets that help you see the impact of your purchases, the purchases of your people, and also the impact of us together. So the goal for this is so that we understand that we are trying to eliminate and keep items out of your swag closet. So with Axomo, your brand isn't necessarily just about being visible, it's about being intentional. We want to build connections that last beyond just the unboxing, which we all love. So today, the items that you guys found and selected represent your choice and your story. And there's something that is very incredibly important about that, because if we can be able to make those individual choices, that means that those choices will stay with that person for a greater experience. So today we've estimated that from the items that everyone has purchased here, and even the items which you did not purchase. In other words, if we would have just brought in a box of incredible swag, some of you may have been taking something that you didn't necessarily want. But because you're able to make that choice, and from our numbers and looking at what that opportunity was, and is to you, that we have been able to save about 1 cubic foot of landfill space. And there's an interesting thing that can be done with 3 cubic feet of space that was saved from the landfill. And that is in this case, it's a perfect size for growing a lemon tree. And so think about what we just did. The choices that you guys made or did not make, all of those came together so that we were able to save something. So a little choice, a little difference is in the long run going to make a big difference. So it's not just about how your brand begins, but we also want to show and prove that it can endure and that it connects people and that there is an extended life to it. So thank you all today for being a part of our journey with us today. We are so excited to be able to share this with you. We want to create those connections between us and for those that you guys have contact with. So again, my name is Ryan Sharp. If you have feedback for us, we love to hear it. If you have ideas, send that to us. If you have input on maybe an incredible thrift store, I welcome that as well. For science. Thanks, you guys. We sure appreciate you. Let's turn the mic over back to Matt Brisbane.
Thank you, Ryan. And thanks for the science. I get the honor of wrapping up. Super grateful to all of our speakers and presenters. Great job. Appreciate all of you. In an age where we're clamoring for artificial experiences, I want to flip the script. And someone's in the audience today doesn't know that they're a plug for a personal story that has transformed my life and transformed the way I think. His name is Jacob Haney. Hi, Jacob. Didn't know you were part of this, did you? Wave your hand over there. This is Jacob. Very good friend of mine. Let's give it up for Jacob. Jacob has an unusual superpower. He is probably the best listener that I know of in my life. Years and years ago, in addition to going to Sundance, remember that? We didn't see the Michael Jackson thing? That's another story. We were at a networking table. There's a lot of my friends here from networking, and we were talking about whatever, and one of the icebreakers was like favorite gift, and I was talking about Legos. And all of us have 1 million Legos, and our kids have 6 million Legos. And there was a specific set I wanted. I think it was right when the Star Wars Legos were hot, and I was talking about the Millennium Falcon. I got to get me one. And that was the end of the conversation. 1 week later, Jacob Haney arrives at my office with a package in tow. It was that Millennium Falcon set. After my confusion, awe, inspiration, and just gratitude. I didn't have words, and I have a lot of words. I'm never short on words, but Jacob stooped me, and I'm grateful for that thoughtfulness. He has something that he's coined called a Santa Claus complex. And I know I'm not the only one who's been the recipient of this Santa Claus complex. It's unusual, and it's inspiring. Today, we are going to borrow Jacob's thoughtfulness and his superpower, and today I get to play Santa Claus. And so, while you've all been sitting here, while we've all been talking to you about great things, outside this door, our ops team has been running around with their heads cut off, and I now have a couple of orders that are ready. Amazon can get you something in a day. We can get it to you in an hour. Come on up, Sarah. Give it up for Sarah, guys. All right. So in my hands, and we're going to bring you up to the stage, I have Jacob Crockett. Get up there.
Nice.
I have Teresa. My shield, come on up. And I have Alan, I'm not going to slob your name. Alan, come on up. How do you say your last name, brother? Cool. Thank you. Hey, open them up. Let's check it out. Merry Christmas, you guys. What'd you guys get? That's a sweet hat. I would super steal that from you. I got you. Awesome. That's nice. Merry Christmas, guys. Thank you. How do you feel?
I'm excited. I know.
Me too.
I think the turnaround. That's
I know.
wild. That's legit. How do you feel?
Very grateful because you know I like hats like this. I don't usually wear the flat brim, so I was excited to see there's
So we'll take your hat for you. All right. Let's give it up for him, guys. The joy on their faces is the joy that we want you to feel with your team. Christmas morning gives us the light because we get to give. And we hope today that we've taught you how to give. It actually teaches you something. It teaches you something about you. That giving, that thoughtfulness, the thought that my dear friend had, I will never forget him. I'll never forget that moment. And I've easily told that story 100 times. Because it is the thought that matters. And I hope today that with the thought that we've taught you about, that you will think differently going forward. It's been an honor to be your host. It's been an honor to hear from our speakers. Let's give it up for everybody. Let's create that.